A, B, C. Who are our pollinators and why are they in trouble? By Kenneth Eade. Photographs by Valentina Eade. We live in a world where plants and animals help each other. Plants give us fruit and vegetables that feed us and feed the animals. Birds like this hummingbird, bats, bees, and butterflies help bring pollen from one flower to another flower so that the plants can make seeds, which in turn make new plants. Bees are the most important pollinators. They have been doing this job for over 100 million years. There are thousands of different kinds of bees, but you probably know this one the best. This is the honeybee. Honeybees are important because they take care of pollinating most of the fruits and vegetables we eat. The beekeepers bring hives of honeybees to the farmers, so the honeybees can pollinate their crops. But wild bees like this one are also important because they also pollinate many fruits, vegetables, and wildflowers. The bumblebee is a wild bee that you may have seen. Most bumblebees are yellow and black. If you see a bumblebee, you should not be afraid. They can sting, but they won't sting you unless they are afraid of you. If a bumblebee comes close to you, just stand still and it will fly away. Don't ever try to wave your hands or swat at any kind of bee. Bumblebees pollinate wildflowers. Without them, many of the beautiful flowers you see would not exist. But they are also important because they and the honeybees pollinate many fruits and vegetables. Bumblebees are very important to tomatoes, potatoes, and eggplant because they make a buzz with their wings that shakes the pollen loose. This is called buzz pollination. Butterflies also pollinate some flowers. Bees, birds, and butterflies are awake during the day, busy pollinating flowers. At night, moths and bats wake up and take over the job of pollination. Bats are important because they pollinate 300 kinds of fruit and also cacti. Without bats, we would not have bananas, mangoes, guavas, or peaches. A bee's body is covered with tiny hairs. Bees visit flowers to collect a sugary fluid from the flower called nectar. When they do this, pollen sticks to the hair on their bodies. When they go to another flower, some of the pollen falls off onto the new flower, and this helps the flower make a seed. Without this process, new plants could never grow. Honeybees live in hives. Most of them are taken care of by beekeepers, so they live in man-made hives like this one. Some honeybees in the wild make their hives in trees, but this doesn't happen very often. Honeybees live in colonies together in perfect harmony, and each of them has a job to do. The queen bee is the most important bee because she lays all the eggs in the hive, which grow into new bees and continue the population of the colony. The male bees are called drones. They don't have stingers, and their only job is to fertilize eggs for the queen. There are not many drones in the colony. Worker bees are all female. They do most of the work in the hive. When they are young, they take care of the newborn bees like nurses. When they get a little older, they can help clean and maintain the hive and take care of the queen. Later, they will either process honey or go out foraging for flowers. A bee has 6 legs, a head, a thorax, where the wings are attached, and an abdomen. Honeybees have 5 eyes. They have 2 important eyes on each side of their head, like the ones you see here, which help them with color, light, and direction, and 3 simple eyes on the top of their head, which help them with light. They also have antennae, which help them smell and determine their flight speed. Honeybees have a stinger, and they can only use it once, because after they use it, it detaches from their bodies and they die. Because of this, a honeybee will only sting if it feels threatened, so, just like bumblebees, if one comes close to you, just be still and don't try to swat at it, and it will not sting you. But don't ever go near a hive. Honeybees will sting to protect their hive. Beekeepers wear protective suits to keep from getting stung. Sometimes honeybees don't sting intruders. This is a bumblebee stealing some honey from a hive. And for some reason, the honeybees are not attacking. Worker bees do a special dance to communicate with other worker bees to let them know where the best flowers are. Worker bees have two stomachs, one for eating and one for storing the nectar they collect on their foraging trips, called a crop. They also have little bags on their back legs for carrying pollen back to the hive. This one's bags are packed. Both pollen and nectar provide food for the colony. When a worker bee comes back from foraging, she will put the nectar from her crop right into the crop of a worker bee at the hive, who will process the nectar into honey. Then she will go back to foraging. The processing bee puts the nectar from her crop into a cell called the honeycomb. When she does this, she adds a special enzyme that helps the nectar ripen into honey. When the nectar is ripe and dry, she seals the cell with wax to keep it clean. The honey is used to feed the colony. Honeybees make enough honey to share it with us, but the beekeeper has to make sure not to take too much so that they have enough honey to last them through the entire winter, where they will stay in the hive until the flowers bloom again in the spring. Honey is one of life's most perfect foods. It has everything the bees need, and it has many good nutrients for us as well. It is a food that will stay for several years without spoiling, so long as you keep the honey jar tightly closed. Bees are important to us because without them, we would not be able to eat the proper foods which give us a balanced diet. Because they are important to us, we have to make sure that they have enough wild areas to forage in, with enough flowers. Our bees are in trouble now, and if we don't take better care of our environment, we may lose them forever. If this happens, there will be no bees on the earth, just like there are no dinosaurs. We cannot let this happen, and there are things that we can do to make sure it doesn't happen. Clearing land to make buildings leaves less land for bees and other animals. Once the wild lands are lost, they are lost forever, and that is sad. The loss of these wild lands is making the bees weaker. Big farms who grow the food in the grocery stores are also putting too much poison on our crops. The poison kills the bad insects that eat the crops, but it also kills the bees. And it is not good for us either. It's a good idea to make sure that your mom and dad buy fruits and vegetables that are organic. Organic foods are grown without any poison. If you have enough room, you can grow your own vegetable garden. That will be good for your family and the bees. Bees need a variety of flowers to stay healthy, just like we need a variety of foods. You can help the bees at home by growing wildflowers in your yard. Bees also like clover and dandelions, so it's a good idea not to pull those out. Make sure your mom and dad get wildflower seeds that are organic, with no poisons on them. And leave a small shallow dish of water out in your yard with some clean stones on it, so the bees can come to drink the water, but not fall into it. Ask your teacher if the class can write a letter to the representatives in your government. Tell them in the letter that you learned from this book. Tell them that you care about the bees and you want them to help them. If enough people care about it, we can all save bees together. The end.